You are 22 years old and sitting in a windowless room on the fourth floor of a building you will spend the next 3 years inside without ever learning what the company actually does. The chair is too tall for the desk has a scratch on the left side that someone covered with a post-it note that says IT extension 4412 in handwriting that doesn't belong to anyone you've met yet. A woman named Claudia from Human Resources is sitting across from you with a folder that's thicker than anything you've signed since your apartment lease, and she is walking you through benefits enrollment with the precise enthusiasm of someone who has explained this 47 times this quarter. Page 3 is dental, page 5 is vision, page 7 is the 401k enrollment form. Claudia says the company matches up to 3%. She says it like it matters. You hear the words, but they land in the part of your brain where things go when you're 22 and the future is a weather forecast for a city you've never visited. 3%. You don't know what 3% of your salary is because you haven't received your first paycheck yet, and the number on the offer letter still feels theoretical. A coworker named Marcus, who started 2 weeks before you and already seems to know where the good coffee is, told you in the elevator to check the 3% box. He said it the way people say things they heard from someone else, confidently, without context, as a fact stripped of its math. You check the box. You sign the page. Claudia says congratulations and slides you a welcome packet that includes a refrigerator magnet with the company logo and a card with a website where you can check your balance, which you will not do for 14 months. You tell Keisha about the 401k over pad CE at the Thai place on Division Street. She asks what it is. You say it's a retirement thing. She says that sounds fake. You both laugh. Keisha works at a warehouse that doesn't offer a 401k. She doesn't say this, and you don't ask, and the space between those two silences is a space you won't understand for another decade, when the number in your account has grown into something that requires its own login, and the number in hers is still 0, not because she didn't want to save, but because nobody ever slid a folder across a desk and told her to check a box. Stage 2. $8,000. You discover the number by accident. You're on the company benefits portal trying to change your dental provider because Dr. Pham doesn't take the new plan, and there's a tab in the corner that says retirement. You click it the way you click things you don't intend to click, without commitment, out of proximity. The page loads. The number is $8,247.63. You have $8,247 in an account you forgot existed attached to a company you've been working at for 2 years and 3 months. The quarterly statements have been arriving in envelopes you throw away. You recognize them by the return address, a financial services company with a name that sounds like a law firm. You've never opened one. The envelopes go from the mailbox to the recycling bin in a single motion that has become so automatic you once threw away a birthday card from your aunt because it arrived the same day and the envelopes were the same size. $8,000. It doesn't feel like yours, it feels like money that belongs to a system you accidentally joined by checking a box in a windowless room because a man named Marcus told you to in an elevator. The money is real, but it's not available. You can see it on a screen, but you can't spend it. It exists in a future you haven't earned yet, held behind a penalty and an age you haven't reached, and the distance between 24 and 59.5 is a distance you cannot feel in your body. It is numerical, it is abstract, it is someone else's problem. The someone else is you, but later, and later is not a person you've met. Keisha asks how work is going. You say, fine. You don't mention the $8,000 because what would you say? I have money I can't touch in an account I forgot about for a retirement that doesn't feel real. She'd say that sounds fake again, and she wouldn't be entirely wrong. Stage 3, $35,000. You open the portal on purpose this time, not by accident, not out of proximity. You type the URL into your browser on a Sunday morning because a woman at a dinner party last week mentioned the phrase employer match, and the way she said it slowly, with emphasis, the way people say things that have personally cost them, made you Google it in the car on the way home. You've been contributing 3% for 4 years. The company has been matching 3% for 4 years. But for the first 11 months, you only contributed 3% because that's what Marcus said, and the match is dollar for dollar up to 3%, which means for 11 months you left money on the table. Not metaphorically, literally. The company was offering to hand you money and you didn't take it because nobody explained that the box Marcus told you to check was only half the box. You increase your contribution to 6% on a Sunday morning in your kitchen, still in the t-shirt you slept in, coffee going cold in a mug that says world's okayest employee that Keisha gave you as a joke. The change takes effect next pay period. The difference in your paycheck will be $73. You will notice it for 2 months and then stop noticing it, which is the fundamental mechanism of the 401k. It works because you stop feeling it. The money disappears before it arrives. It is subtracted from a life you've already built at the lower number, and the lower number becomes the real number, and the real number is enough because it has to be. $35,000. You look at the number on the screen and you try to feel something about it. You can't. It's money that belongs to a woman you haven't become yet. You are sending letters to a stranger and the stranger hasn't written back. Stage 4. $100,000? You are 29 years old and sitting in the parking lot of a sandwich shop eating a turkey club in your car because the weather is nice and the office break room smells like someone's fish from yesterday. You open the app. You don't know why you open the app. You haven't checked in 3 months. The app loads. The number is $102,341.18. 6 figures. You set the sandwich on the dashboard. You stare at the screen. The number has a comma in it now. The comma changes everything. Not mathematically. Mathematically, a comma is nothing, a visual organizer. But emotionally, the comma is the difference between a balance and a statement, between something you have and something you've built. There is a comma in your retirement account, and you built it by checking a box in a windowless room when you were 22 years old and didn't know what 3% meant. You don't tell anyone, not Marcus, who left the company a year ago, not Claudia, who you haven't seen since orientation, not your mother, who would worry that you're thinking about retirement at 29, because in her generation, thinking about retirement meant something was wrong. You don't tell Keisha. Not because you're hiding it, because there's no version of the sentence that doesn't sound like a different language. I have $100,000 in an account I can't touch for 30 years. What does Keisha say to that? Her job still doesn't offer a 401k. She's been at 3 different warehouses in 4 years, and none of them had a folder with a page 7. The feeling isn't celebration, it's something stranger. It's the first time you look at the number and realize the woman who will spend this money is a real person. She exists. She will be 62 or 65 or 59 and a half, and she will log into this same portal and the number will be different, and she will make a decision based on what you did in a parking lot, eating a sandwich and checking an app you opened for no reason on a Tuesday in October. She is real. You haven't met her, but you've been paying her rent for 7 years, and she doesn't know it yet. Stage 5, $250,000. You use a retirement calculator for the first time. A financial advisor named Priya, who your company provides through a benefits partnership you didn't know existed until an email with the subject line, "Maximize Your Future," landed in your inbox between a meeting invite and a shipping notification, sits across from you on a video call and shares her screen. The screen shows a graph. The graph has 2 lines. One line is what you have, the other line is what you need. The gap between them is your life. Priya asks when you want to retire. You say 65 because that's the number people say. She asks if you've thought about 62. You haven't. She asks if you've thought about 55. You laugh. She doesn't laugh. She moves a slider on the screen and the lines shift and the gap narrows and the math changes, and you realize for the first time that retirement is not an age, it is a number, and the number is closer than you thought and further than you want. You are 34.
The woman on the other side of the graph is 62. She is 28 years away. The distance between you is not time, it is contributions and compound interest and market returns and expense ratios and a dozen variables you didn't know existed until Priya named them on a screen you're watching from your kitchen table in a t-shirt because the call was listed as optional and you almost didn't join. You start a spreadsheet. Not because Priya told you to, because the graph made you feel something that a quarterly statement in a thrown-away envelope never did. The graph made the stranger real. The stranger is 62, and she has a face, and the face is your face, but older, and the spreadsheet is a letter to her that says, I see you, I am working on it. I don't know if I'll get there, but I see you. Keisha calls. She got a new job, better pay, still no 401k. She doesn't mention it, you don't mention the spreadsheet, the Thai place on Thursday, the pad seat you arrives, the booth wobbles. You split the check the way you always split the check, and the math is automatic, and this is the only math in your life that doesn't carry the weight of a future you're building for a person you haven't met. Stage 6, $500,000. Something changes, and it takes you 2 quarters to notice. You check the statement, a real statement, one you open now, one you read, and the growth this quarter is $14,200. Your contribution this quarter was $6,150. The account made more money than you put into it. You read the number again. You sit with it. The account earned $14,000 in 3 months by doing nothing, by existing, by being invested in index funds you chose on Priya's recommendation 2 years ago, funds with names you still can't pronounce confidently, funds that own small pieces of companies you've never heard of in countries you've never visited, and those small pieces grew while you were sleeping and commuting and eating pad CU on Thursday nights and not thinking about the number. The money is making money. You started the machine 7 years ago by checking a box, and now the machine runs faster than you can feed it. You are no longer the engine. You are the architect. The building is building itself. You check the account less now, not because you don't care, because checking it feels like watching a river. The river doesn't need you to watch it. It moves regardless. The compound interest doesn't require your attention. It requires your patience, which is a different thing. And patience is the one financial skill nobody teaches because it looks like doing nothing, and doing nothing doesn't photograph well. Stage 7, $1 million. You are 46 years old, and you are a 401k millionaire, and the word millionaire feels like a costume that doesn't fit. You haven't changed. Your car is the same. Your apartment, you own it now, but the building is the same one you rented in at 30. Your morning coffee is the same $4.70. Your Thursday is the same pad CU in the same booth that still wobbles. Nothing about your visible life suggests $1 million exists anywhere near you, and it doesn't, technically. It exists in a portal behind a password, behind a penalty, behind an age you haven't reached. It is the most significant number in your life, and it is completely invisible. You could stop working. You run the calculator. At 7% annual return, drawing 4% a year, the million sustains $40,000 annually before Social Security, before any other savings, before the pension you don't have. You could live on $40,000. You have lived on less. You lived on $28,000 at the medical supply company, and the parking lot flooded, and the break room smelled like fish, and you survived. You could stop. You don't stop, and the reason you don't stop is the thing nobody tells you about reaching the number. Freedom isn't quitting. Freedom is knowing you could quit and choosing not to. The choice changes the chair you sit in. The same desk, the same monitor, the same coffee mug, but the chair feels different when you're sitting in it voluntarily. The work didn't change. Your relationship to the work changed. You are here because you choose to be, not because the math requires it. And the distance between those two reasons is the distance between a job and a life. You tell Keisha you're a 401k millionaire. You've never told her a number before. She puts down her fork. She looks at you. She says, "From the 3% box?" You say, "From the 3% box." She says, "That's not fake anymore." You both laugh. It's the same laugh from 12 years ago when she said it sounds fake, but the laugh is different now. It has weight. It has 24 years of compound interest and Thursday dinners and a booth that wobbles behind it.
Stage 8, $3 million.
You are 58 years old. The number is $3,147,882.41. The woman you've been saving for is 3 years away. You can almost touch her. She is 61, the age you'll trigger the first withdrawal without penalty, the age the spreadsheets and the calculators and the graphs and Priya's projections were all pointed at. 23 years of pointing, and the target is now close enough to see without a calculator. You open the portal one more time, not to check the balance, you know the balance. You open it to look at the contribution history. The first entry is from 23 years ago, $127.38, a $127.38 letter to the stranger who is now 3 years away and has your face and your name and your memories and your pad CU order and your Thursday booth. You close the portal. You sit in a room that's quieter than any room you've ever paid for. Not designed silence, just the silence of a Tuesday evening when the work is done and the number is enough, and the woman on the other side of the spreadsheet is almost here. You call Keisha. She picks up on the first ring. She says, "Thursday." You say, "Thursday." She says, "The booth wobbles worse now." You say, "It's been wobbling for 23 years." She says, "Maybe that's the point." You say, "Maybe." Thursday comes. You sit in the booth. The pad CU arrives. Keisha has the green curry. The television plays a channel you've never identified. The tape on the seats has been replaced so many times the color has shifted slightly, but neither of you has mentioned it because some things change so slowly they stay the same. You look at Keisha and you think about the woman 3 years away, the woman you've been saving for since you were 22. The woman you sent $127.38 to without knowing her name. And you realize, sitting in this booth, splitting this check, eating this food in this restaurant that has never asked for your balance or your login or your contribution percentage, you realize that the woman 3 years away is not a stranger anymore. She's the woman in this booth. She's the woman who checked the box. She's the woman who threw away the envelopes and then stopped throwing them away. She's the woman who opened the app in a parking lot eating a turkey club and saw a comma for the first time. She is you. She was always you. And the only thing left to do is meet her, which you will, in 3 years, at the same booth, on a Thursday, with pad CU.